Hey guys, in this video, we're going to add the ability to follow and unfollow other users. There will be a button on the profile that will show either follow or unfollow based on whether or not the user is currently following this other user. So it will just switch between follow and unfollow depending on what the current status is for that user. And we'll come back later in a future video and make everything look better. But for now, we're just going to focus on making everything functional. So we're just going to put all this on the profile, just kind of below everything else. And later I'll come back with a better design to kind of clean all this up. And with that said, let's get started with this project. So let's jump into our models.py, and we need to add one line to this to make this work. In our user profile model, we need to add an area where we can hold followers and kind of store them on a field. So we'll add another column to this. We'll add another field to this user profile model. So below this picture field here, we will type followers, and this will equal models dot ManyToMany field, and we'll pass in user because we're going to store user objects on this in this follower field here. And then we're going to put blank equals true so it can be empty if the user has no followers. And we'll add a related name, which will equal followers. Should we spell that right? Okay, there we go. And now with that done, let's go ahead and save this. And now we need to go ahead and make migrations and migrate the changes to the database. So in the terminal here, make sure we're in our root directory, which we are with the manage.py. And so first I'll activate my virtual environment. So I'll type source env/bin/activate. And then I will do Python 3 manage.py make migrations. And then I'll do the same thing, manage.py migrate. Okay, and with that done, let's go ahead and make a couple changes to the post list that we have in our social feed in our profile. So you'll see if we go into our profile here, and we scroll down to where we're listing all of our posts right here, you'll see that we have a stretch link, and this goes to the next relative parent container, which in this case is right here. And so this is going to the entire column here. And what we want to do is we want to move this to be below this post dot author where we put the username. Remove that below there so we can put another link on our username here that will go to the profile. So what I can do here, I can go ahead and just cut this part out right here, this position relative, and I'm going to go ahead and make another div right below that, the author. And I'll paste in a class, I'll paste in that position relative. And then that's going to hold this paragraph tag right here, as well as this link tag with the stretch link class. And then I'm going to go ahead and out here, close off that div tag. And now I can go ahead and add a link here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and with inside of this p tag here, I'm going to remove the strong tag. And since we're going to have a different color for our links, you won't need to put a strong tag there. We'll be able to easily tell the difference without it. So I'll just remove it here for now. And I'll add a link tag, an anchor tag, and add a style equaling to text decoration of none. So there's no underline on the link. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a class on here as well. And this will be text-primary, which will give it the primary blue color that that Bootstrap has by default. And then finally, got to give it an href to tell it where to go to. And so I'll pass in my curly braces, %signs, and this will go to the profile. So in quotes, I'll put profile. And we got to pass in the primary key of that profile. We can get that by grabbing our post here that we're passing it up here, that we're looping through, and we're calling it post up here. I'm going to grab that. So post dot, and we can get the author, which is the username or the user on this post. We're going to do dot profile to get that profile, and dot pk to get the primary key of that profile. And then finally, I need to go ahead and close off the a tag right here. And then just to make it easier to tell what this is, I'm going to add an @ symbol right there so you can easily see this is a username. just kind of standard to make it a little easier to read there. And that should be it. We can save that, and that should be all the upgrades here we need. Now let's go ahead and jump into our post list and do the exact same thing. So actually, I'm gonna go ahead and just copy this whole row right here. Let's see here, it goes down to right here. So I'll copy all of this, jump into the post list, and just double check. This is a column-md-8, and this is a column-md-5. So actually, I'm gonna go ahead and just copy everything inside of here so we don't change that at all. So that'd be all of this. Let's go ahead and copy that. Come in here. Let's paste all of that right here. And that should be it. Let's go ahead and save that. Now let's go run the server and see what it looks like. So we'll do Python manage.py run server. And then we'll open up a browser. We'll log in with our admin account. Looks like we have an error here. Expected empty or N4. Oh, I forgot to put the actual URL inside of there. So back inside our text editor here, there we need to put in our link here. Before we put profile, put URL. So save that there, jump into our profile, put that there as well. URL, save that. Now let's jump back here, reload the page, and there we go. And looks like our link, oh, one more change to make. I put the link tag to close after our date. Let's go ahead and close it before the date. So only the actual username is the link. Like change that to on both of these right here as well. Save that. Come in here, reload the page there, and there we go. So now we have an @ and the username. And so I click on, for example, the admin one. It then takes us to the admin profile here. And the same changes are down here as well, where it says admin with the @ symbol and the link. Perfect. And with that done, we should be ready to go ahead and start adding the logic to make the actual follow and unfollow buttons work. And so to begin with this, let's start by adding a view to add a follower. So back inside of our text editor here, if we close out these files here, jump into our views.py, scroll down to the bottom here, we can add an add follow class. So do a class equals add follower, and we'll pass in login required mixin and then view. We'll use our generic view class for this, so we can add a post or get methods depending on what HTTP requests we want to handle. And in this case, all we're going to handle is just a post request. This button will be within a form, and it will submit to this URL that we set for this view with a post request. So all we need to do is just do a def post and not a get for this one. We can pass itself, request, pk, star args, and star quargs like we normally do. And now within inside of this function here, we need to do a couple things. First, we need to get the profile that we're on. And then we need to add to this followers ManyToMany field that we have here. So first, let's get the profile. So we'll do profile equals UserProfile.objects.get, and then pk equals pk. We're passing the primary key up here, so we can just access it just with the variable name of pk. And that will be the same pk for the profile that we're just on. And then below that, we need to go ahead and add to this followers ManyToMany field. So inside of our models here, we have this ManyToMany field, and Django makes it very easy with just an add method. So we can use followers.add to add to this field here. And it will just store a list of objects, a list of users, since we pass user in right here. And so we can go ahead and just do profile.followers.add, and then pass in request.user to get the current user as logged in. And then finally, we can go ahead and return something. And in this case, we want to go back to that profile view that we were just on. And so at the top here, we can import redirect. So I'm going to go below our render here and do from Django.shortcuts. Actually, we already have it up here. So up here, next to render, I put a comma and put redirect. And then down here, back in our view, I can return redirect. So we do return redirect. And now I can pass in the view that I want to redirect to. In this case, is profile. and then I can go ahead and pass in any arguments. And in this case, we need to pass in the primary key argument for the URL. And so we can do pk equals, and we just want to get the profile that we're currently on. We can grab that using this profile variable we created. We can just do profile.pk. Save that. There we go. Now let's go ahead and add a URL pattern for this. So down here in our urls.py, or actually in our urls.py for this social app, we can go ahead and import our new view first. So up here, I can go ahead and type add follower, and then let's go ahead and create another path down here. So do path, and our route will be, let's do profile slash, and then in our brackets here, int colon pk slash followers slash add. And then we'll do add follower dot as underscore view, like we do for all of our class-based views. Give a name that equals add dash follower. There we go. And that should be it for add follower view. Now let's do the same thing, but for our remove follower. So what we'll do here is this will be almost exactly the same. In our views, we can go ahead and create another class, call it remove follower, and we can pass in login required as well as our view class, so generic view class. And we can add another post method, self request pk star args star star quargs. And once again, we'll grab the profile. So profile equals user profile dot objects dot get, and we'll get pk equals pk again. And now Django also has a way to remove from a ManyToMany field, and that is just called remove. And so we can do almost the exact same thing we did here, except use a remove method instead of an add method. So we can do profile dot followers dot remove and pass in request dot user to get the currently logged in user. And then finally, we can go ahead and return redirect back to that profile again. So we'll do return redirect profile, and then pk equals profile.pk. And now that we have both of our views for our add follower, remove follower, let's go ahead and add a way to actually show the number of followers on the profile so we can see that everything's working. So let's go ahead and jump into our views.py and scroll up here to this profile view. We can add some more logic here to check how many followers there are and if the current logged in user is following this profile. So first, let's count the number of followers, and we can get all the followers. So we come in here below posts. We can get all of our followers by using an .all method. So we do followers equals profile.followers.all, and that will get every object that's in this ManyToMany field. So now we have all our followers here. Let's count how many there are, and we can just use the len method to get the length of this list. And so down here, I'll do number underscore of underscore followers equals len and then followers. This will return just the length of this list, and that'll be the number of followers, and we can display that to the user. So I'm gonna go ahead down here and pass this into the template. So I'll do number of followers and just put the value of number of followers. Okay, now the last thing you want to do is you want to have some sort of Boolean value that shows whether or not this user is currently following this profile, or the user on this profile. If it is, we want to go ahead and pass in it is following Boolean to the context as well, and we'll use that to show either a follow or unfollow button based on if they are currently following it or not. So below this followers list here, let's go ahead and create a for loop. Do for follower in followers, and we'll check if the follower is equal to request.user. And since everything in this list will be user objects, we can just check if it's equal to the request.user, see if they match. If they do, we'll set is following to true. And we also want to break out this loop. Else, if they're not following it, we want to set is following equaling the false. And that's it. Now down here in our context, let's go ahead and pass in is following value to this context dictionary. So is following, and that will be equal to is, or the value will be set to is following. Make sure you put a comma here, put one here as well. Go ahead and save that. And now we should be able to update our template to show this. So let's jump into our profile template now, HTML template. And so what we'll do here, we'll scroll down here below all of our profile information. Let's go below this div here. Let's create another div. And we'll give it a class of margin bottom -3. Let's go and also close off that tag. And now inside of here, first, let's go ahead and list out all the followers. So do a p tag here, and it'll be followers, colon, space, put 2 curly braces, and we can use that number of followers value that we passed into our template. We'll close off this p tag. And now below here, we'll add the buttons to go to those URLs. Did I create both URLs yet? I did not add the I forgot to add one URL pattern. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this and jump back over into here. I forgot to add the remove follower URL. So let's go ahead and do that first real quick. So up here, we'll do remove follower. And then down here, add another path. And this will be profile slash int pk slash followers slash remove. We'll use the remove follower .as_view like always, and a name value that equals remove follower. Go ahead and save that. Now let's jump back into our profile HTML. We can use both of these views here to show a button and send a post request to either to this one or to this one based on what the value is following of based on what the value of is following is that we pass into our template. So if this is true, we want to set it to go to the add follower, and if this is false, you want to set this to go to the add follower, and if this is true, we want it to go to the remove follower or the unfollow. So now below this p tag here, let's go ahead and add a couple things. So first, before we show any buttons at all, we want to check if the user on this profile is equal to the request.user, the user is logged in. If that's the case, we don't want to show any of this because we don't want the user to be able to follow we don't want them to be able to follow themselves. That doesn't make any sense. So we'll add an if statement here. So curly braces, percent signs, if user, and you can check in our views.py here. We passed in user right here, which is just set to the profile.user. And so this is just if the profile.user is equal to request.user, do nothing. Else, we want to go ahead and show these buttons. So let's go ahead and add our indiff down here. And now let's go ahead and show these buttons. So we want to put both these buttons within a form that we can send it as a post request. So we'll do a form with a method equaling to posts, and the action will equal whatever URL we want to go to. So this will actually be dependent on whether or not the user is currently following this user. So above this form here, let's go ahead and add another if statement. We'll do if is _ following. So if they are currently following this user, they want to show the unfollow button, and we want to send a request to the remove follower URL. So this action will be equal to, we'll go inside of here and do URL, and in quotes, remove -follower, which is the name that we called it in our urls.py. And we want to pass in the profile.pk, just this current profile pk. And now inside of this form here, first we need to add our CSRF token, which is standard for any Django form. So let's put CSRF _ token. And now below this, we can go ahead and put a button. So do a button, the class equaling to btn -outline -danger, and a type equaling submit. And then we'll go ahead and put the text for this button will be unfollow. And we'll go ahead and close off that tag. Next, we'll go ahead and actually first close off this form. And then next, we'll go ahead and do an else. So if the user is not currently following this user, we want to go ahead and show the follow button. So once again, we'll create a form with a method equaling post. And the action in this case will equal URL add-follower. And once again, we'll pass in the profile.pk. Now let's go and add our CSRF token again. So CSRF underscore token. And then below here, we'll go ahead and do a button. Class equals btn, btn dash outline dash success. And we'll go ahead and give it a type of submit as well. And then this text will be follow. Close off that tag, close off that form, and close off this if statement as well. So we'll need two here, one for this first one that we put up here, and then one for this one right here. Perfect. Let's go ahead and save that now. And now let's go ahead and see how this is working inside of our browser here. So we'll go ahead and reload the page. Let's click on a user. So right now I'm logged in as admin. Let's click on test 5. Local variable is following reference before assignment. Okay, let's check, see where I messed up on that. So let's jump back into our text editor here, back into our views.py. Oh, I put is follower here and not is following. Let's go ahead and fix that, save that, jump back into here. Oops, build this page. Still giving this error. Okay, so it looks like the issue here is because we have no followers, so this list here isn't running, or this for loop isn't running. So we'll do up here, we'll do if length of followers is equal to 0, then is following equals false. That should fix that issue there. The page here, click on here, and there we go. There is an issue though. Right now it's outside of this. I wanted this to be underneath all of this. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. Jump back into our text editor here. Let's go to our profile. Let's see where this should be at. I'm guessing this is the column. Yeah, so let's go ahead and grab all of this here. Cut this out here. And this should go inside of this div here. So right there. Go and fix our indents there. Save that. Let's go here and reload this page. There we go. We hit follow. Now you'll see this followers jumps up to 1. Hit unfollow. We get an error because I misspelled followers, looks like. So jump back into our code here, to our views. If we come down here and add an S to the end of followers, come back. Let's jump back here, reload the page, hit unfollow. Now it goes to 0. And so I can jump up 1 and below 1, and it's following and unfollowing this user. Perfect. It's all working great. And that's all we're going to do in this first video. For the followers. We might come back and add some more features to the follow unfollow section, but for now this is a good stopping point. We can go through and you can create more users, and you should be able to do the same thing, follow unfollow as many users as you want, and the follow count should update automatically. And so when we hit follow, we're sending a post request coming right back to the same URL, so you don't see any changes as a user really, which is kind of nice. And that will be it for this video. So all the code will be in the description below, as well as the link to the written tutorial. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.